Hi guys, I thought you might like to do a nice Indian dish with me. Um, there's a few things that are really pretty much you need them in Indian. I've done without, and you can. One main thing is the ghee thing, and a lot of people know about this now. It's clarified butter. You can buy it already made up in stores. Um, it's way nicer, I think, to do it yourself. I've actually sort of sneaked by with cooking with butter with Indian food, even coconut oil. But for that really classic taste, I suggest you go get some, and maybe we'll even make some at some point in the course. I'm going to be cooking uh, a curry, I guess you could call it, mixed vegetables, and I'm using this pan. So I think I'll start with about that much ghee. This looks like about a tablespoon to me, and that's probably all I'll need. Um, Again, what we're going to do here is like get the spices cooked appropriately. This is the main tricky bit, I would say, of anything. Besides getting the right ingredients, it's the cooking the spices right that is really, actually, it's easy. You just need to do it right. Now, there's some specialty items that you probably only be able to get in maybe some health food stores and some ethnic stores. One of them's black pepper. I mean that, black mustard. Whole black mustard. They're little tiny seeds, and they're the black kind. If you have to, you can substitute the yellow, but it's one of those things. These are things that are like not that hard to get. Here's another one. It's called asafoetida. I don't use it that often, and it's not required, but it's a really special resin. Is it a resin? And it needs to be cooked properly. I'm actually not going to do it today, maybe. It is kind of like adding something that's similar to garlic. Let's let them, the real expert do that with us some other time. Hing, it's called sometimes. That's one I was thinking of today, but we won't do that today. Now, we also have another, it's a seed, and the same story. You can get it at like, Indian markets and things. It's called ajwain. Very, very special kind of seed. We're going to use that today. That, you can live without that. But if you want a secret ingredient, this is one of them. Okay, so what we're going to start out doing, which is typical, is cooking the mustard seeds. Now, I don't have that many vegetables. This is the size. It looks like about maybe a quarter teaspoon. They're fun. So, one fun thing is okay, now see it's already popping? Immediately we're going to put in some fresh spices. Those are ginger chopped and turmeric fresh. If you can get it, it's amazing. If you can't get it, just wait till you can sometime. It's wonderful. I've probably got, that you can see how much it chopped up to. It's maybe half-inch diameter piece and about a half-inch long. Same with ginger, maybe a little more on the ginger. Now this is something that you'll get the hang of. Some people really love ginger, and some people only want it in small amounts, and so just you work with that. This is sort of a medium thing, I would say. Now we're going to put some fenugreek seeds in there, not too many. These are special too, and they're very bitter. So we're just going to put a few of those guys in. They like roasting. Whole seeds tends to be a good time to get them in early. And the ajwain. Ajwain is a little bit more delicate of a seed. It's fantastic. This happens to be mixed in with celery seed, which is also not a bad choice. And just a little. See, this is like, a pinch. And you can still hear those mustard seeds popping. Now we're going to do the dry spices, and these are classic. Dried turmeric, cumin, and coriander. So you're going to just watch the sort of, open measurement here. We are mavericks, and I'll look at it there. You put the turmeric in before the others, and this looks about a half a teaspoon. That's because I also have fresh. Now you're going to want to turn this down. You don't want these to smoke. It's starting to smoke, get it off there. You don't want that. It'll change the nature of your spices. Now if that's happened and it's gone too far, put a little bit of something wet in there like an onion, and you'll be fine. Then we are going to also be putting cumin. powder. About the same, half a teaspoon. And some coriander powder. You can see it's not smoking, it's fine, it's kind of bubbling over there. And it'll start to be fragrant in the room. You can put, I like more coriander. Maybe twice as much on the coriander as the other two. Oh, it's smelling fairly authentic around this house. Now some people don't eat onions. We've made these kinds of things without onions, but I've been having fun with onions. I put them in at this point after the spices are fragrant. You can smell them. You know, we're talking about a minute or so. If you put this in early, many of you know that onions like to caramelize, which means you're going to have a nice sweet taste there. And if you give these guys a chance before adding the rest, you'll have a more sweet caramelized experience in the end. Now, in this case today, I'm not going to do it that long because I'm in a hurry, but also because some of the other vegetables also take a while to cook. Now, with Indian food, if you've eaten Indian food, which you probably have, you probably noticed that you don't get those crispy, crunchy vegetables the way you do in Asian food. They tend to be fairly soft cooked, and it's sort of part of the whole feel of it. So I'm going to go ahead and do it that way, which means I'm going to put in the vegetables in order of how long they like to cook. So this, I like to put the onions in first, and then I've got some green beans. You can see, it's a good handful of green beans, cut to maybe a little less than an inch, like 3/4 inch, like so. Okay, now's the point where I like to put in salt, because we've mentioned this before, but the salt will draw the moisture out of the vegetables, and then you have that progressing the cooking, but also then you want the salt to like meld in there to the whole dish. And so while you can add it in the end, and you might want to, you also want some in while you're cooking. Now, I don't even know how much I put in. You watch me shake it in. I'd say probably, if I were going to measure the thing, between 1/4 and half a teaspoon. Half a teaspoon's kind of a lot, because you can add it later. You will test it later while it's still in the cooking process to see if the salt is according to your taste. So now what we're going to do is leave it alone and let that cook. I'm going to give it like 7 minutes, and then we'll come back and add the rest. Okay, guys, we got some tomato to put in here. It looks like it did sear a little on the bottom, so keep an eye on this. Tomatoes will help. They have a liquidy quality. The searing is actually sought after to a point, but not burned. So you just want to keep an eye on this stuff. And don't keep the temperature up too high. Oh, that's going to be perfect. Very classic. Okay, we got the tomatoes in there, and they'll cook down and make a little bit of liquidy business. And then we're also going to add, this is the stemmy part of fresh coriander and some green onions. This is a good time to add it. They're more delicate than the rest, and you can put them in closer to the end here. Oh, it's smelling okay. Don't we think so? Okay, so here's the deal. We're just going to let that cook on, fairly low. Just keep an eye on that. I would say, what you want is like not too crunchy. So just when they get to be tender, then that'll be done. We're going to garnish it with the coriander tops here. When you're like right before serving it, throw it in on the top and let it wilt a little bit, this stuff, because it's not just the big giant fresh leaves, it's a little bit chopped. And you can garnish with, it'll be really tasty, lime. Just squeeze it on the plate. And then the other thing you can add, and maybe we'll add it now, is a garam masala. This is like, you can get these mixed in the same kind of stores that you get the other spices. Garam masala. This is a special one. It has a bit of a pungency. So this is to taste. It tends to be the sweet spices like cinnamon and cinnamon and cardamom and clove, and like not too much. See, and these, oh yeah, not bad. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that be, and different people in this household will be adding different items to it. We'll let you know how it turned out. Okay guys, it's probably been about 4 minutes. I remember to turn it down. You'll want to remember to turn it down because otherwise this nice caramelization that's going on will make it stick a lot. You can see that there, right? See it browning on the bottom? A very sawed-off aftertaste there, but you don't want it to burn. So I had it turned down with the lid on for about 4 minutes. Now we're going to plunk in the zucchinis. Turn it up a little bit. Now there's different things you can do later. And add your protein of choice once these are cooked. Cook whatever it is if it needs cooking. If it's your chicken or your shrimp or something, you can cook it in ghee. Make a difference. Or your tofu. You have tofu, you can pre-fry it. In fact, it's something we might do on one of our videos. With tofu, it can be really great to marinate it and then pre-fry it and then add it to a dish like this. Now, I would, if it's a chicken or shrimp or something, other kinds of fish, I would add that sooner. The tofu, I would maybe add a little bit more towards the end, depending on when you're going to eat this. What I'm going to do is once this gets to a point, I'm going to pop it in the oven and let it continue in there. And luckily, you know, if it's a certain amount of cooked, now see how that's sticking? You see that here, browning down there? You don't want that. Easy to change. Put the lid on there, turn it down, and it'll unstick itself all by itself. But you want to remember to turn it down. Also, you could add, and I wondered about adding, some kind of saucy ingredient. Some people eat this type of thing with like a yogurt kind of sauce. Some people even put cream in it, not my first choice, but a coconut thing could be pretty darn tasty. And in some parts of India, they do use coconut milk. Yes? Man behind the screen? Not so much. It's more like Thai. So we're going to go ahead and leave it sort of more classic, and we're going to just let it be kind of dry. No, and another thing, in some parts of India, they like to put tomatoes in. That'd be a nice choice, too. I'll think about that for a minute. And then, so we're just going to let this cook for another minute, and then we'll get back to you.